Woo! Do I have a story for you guys? This is Thursday morning. I'm Dave Ettinger. This is the Drives with Dave podcast, found anywhere you find podcasts. You can also find this on the Dave Talk Sports YouTube channel. Please subscribe below the video. Thank you. So, as you know, I work as an executive producer at CBS Sports Radio, normally for After Hours with Amy Lawrence. The last two nights she had taken 2 shows off. She's taken personal days for herself. And Alex Reimer was hosting. Now, Alex Reimer, based out of Boston, and he works remotely, as do most hosts nowadays while we're still in the midst of a pandemic. When you're hosting remotely, you rely on, here's a little peek behind the scenes, you rely on the internet. You rely on what's called Comrex connections to connect remotely to our board, the board that gets operated, that runs every show that gets on WFAN in New York, CBS Sports Radio, all at the station where I work. So the show airs from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. Eastern Time. And it's about 5:22 in the morning. Now it's now 6:43 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. And we're coming out of a commercial break, and I'm communicating with the host, Alex, via Gmail, GChat, and he says, I might have got disconnected. It's requesting that I call back in, basically to reconnect, which is a connection we established hours prior. Non-issue throughout the entire show. And all of a sudden, boop, he's gone. Now, I didn't panic because I'm experienced and I know how to handle these situations. And we have update anchors and we have other hosts. But the problem with all of that is they're all remote too. And when you think it's just one connection that drops, and then the entire network in the entire building, not just CBS Sports Radio, but WFAN and every other station that's in that building, and there's almost 10 stations in the building, drop all at once. I can only imagine what the other producers in the building, with hosts that are working remotely, how they handled this situation like I did. Now, as someone who wants to host full-time, be a sports talk radio host, I have no problem getting on a microphone. I like talking to you guys. I love talking on the air. I've been able to fill in on the air on CBS Sports Radio so far once. Hopefully there's more shows to come. But I wasn't mentally prepared in any way for this. And not only did I jump on the air and jump on the mic and try to explain to the people who were listening what was going on, I'm also now managing the host through no fault of his own, trying to figure out what to do from Boston. Then I'm trying to deal with the other producer who is out in our newsroom, but we're on the air, so I can't leave the control room that I work in, while getting a call on our phone, on our control room hotline as we call it, from the update anchor who I'm supposed to be sending on the air in approximately 6 minutes from when this happened, to get on the air and give you a CBS Sports Radio update. All in the midst of all these things, I'm then trying to not only talk to fill dead air, but somehow entertain people. It was not entertaining at all. Again, I didn't panic. I didn't freak out. I know some people might have lost their heads in that situation, but I did not sound like I knew anything about sports in the moment. I had not mentally prepared to be talking to over 300 affiliates across the country on CBS Sports Radio. So the entire network of connections was down for approximately 45 minutes, if not more, almost an hour before it got reconnected. I mean, other producers had hosts get in their car and start driving towards the station. The host that comes up after our show at 6 a.m. on CBS Sports Radio, the DA show, Damon Amendola, had to start his show through his first 15-minute segment via Twitch. I mean, I'm giving you all sorts of peeks behind the curtain here to what just happened in my line of work. And, you know, that I wish that I was mentally prepared enough to talk for 6 minutes on the air. Of course, that would have been great. But I'm not going to beat myself up because I was answering 3 different phones, a text message, a GChat, and trying to run into the newsroom without having us get alarms go off that we have dead air for more than 30 seconds, because that happens too. So, all that being said, I'm not bragging or boasting, and I'm not kicking myself and beating myself up in either direction. It was what it was. I handled my business, but it's a little nerve-wracking, if you will, when an entire network goes down on a radio station when you're essentially the only person manning the controls. So, that's how my morning is going so far. I'm now going to drive home because this is the Drives with Dave podcast, found anywhere you find podcasts. Thank you for listening to me rant and vent, and I hope you understand and understood some of the lingo that I threw out behind the scenes in the radio world. I'm going to go home and drive my 2 daughters to the doctor. Nothing serious, physicals, checkups, flu shots, all that good stuff. So on that note, please subscribe below the video on the Dave Talk Sports YouTube channel. Please download and subscribe anywhere you find podcasts. Again, I'm Dave Ettinger. This is the Drives with Dave podcast. Please, 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 please enjoy your Thursday and enjoy Packers 49ers if it happens tonight. See you, everybody.